Hi girlies! So there's like a million Monster High movies, but none of them are an adaptation of the book series by Lisi Harrisson, of which I've only read one, but you know, justice for Lisi! So Monster High follows two main points of view. Frankie Stein, who would be non-binary in the adaptation, and new character Melody Carver, who you only know if you've read the books, so I'll start with her story. The Carvers are a glamorous Hollywood family. Beau is a plastic surgeon, Gloria is a personal shopper, and Candace, their eldest, could be a supermodel, actress, or both tomorrow. Melody is more our classic, unassuming heroine. Hashtag relatable with plain features and more band merch than designer. She used to have a distinctive nose, but also asthma, so her father gave her rhinoplasty. She hates it. Melody struggles to make friends in her new school until she gets adopted by Becca and Haley, the former of whom is the rival of Cleo Denial. And that's what gets us into our factions. On one side, the humans. On the other, the regular attribute dodgers, aka monsters. Monsters live in secret among the humans. And Frankie is not too happy about that. Built just 15 days before the start of the school year, Frankie Stein is the child of two RIDs who doesn't want to live in the shadows. She falls in with a group of girls who she finds are monsters too, and bonds with them over their struggles of having to hide. And then Halloween rolls around. At the school's Monster Mash ball, Frankie convinces the girls not to dress up, but to wear their own identities proud. Cleo has ancient Egyptian jewellery, Claudine shows off her fur, Draculaura busts out the Victoriana, Laguna reveals her scales, and Frankie wears the very dress their grandmother wore as the bride of Frankenstein's monster. But that night, they kiss a boy, a feeling so electric that their head, held on by stitches, floats to the ceiling, revealing monsters to the world. If I were adapting this, we're going for a series. 13 episodes, all around 45 minutes each, and we're going practical. I want an absolute Doctor Who budget, and I mean a real Doctor Who budget. If I don't have at least one background that's a painting that could blow over with a light breeze, I'm not doing this. Monster High is a tribute to classic monster movies, and I expect a classic monster movie. Here are some character mood boards. Frankie Stein. The vibe I'm going for is very much like Fashion Babe, mixing feminine with a little masculine and androgynous, and I'm going for Vivienne Westwood. I think they watch Project Runway and Drag Race and listen to classic rock Marina and Olivia Rodrigo. Their story is about learning their place in the world of monsters and normies and becoming an advocate for monster rights. Melody Carver. Melody to me is that girl who still has a My Chemical Romance hoodie in 2024, even though she wasn't even born during the MCR heyday. She's a classic, not like other girls type. But I want her to be a little bit more personable, sort of like a lost little lamb who wants to fit in, rather than being different for the sake of it. Becca is meant to be the basic of all basics, so I was inspired by the Taylor Swift Eras tour to give her a style evolution. Becca goes from an awkward but enterprising and ultimately friendly teen girl to the leader of the anti-monster brigade, hell-bent on essentially human supremacy. I feel like she could start off with like a Red 1989 kind of vibe, transitioning into Reputation from Maximum Evil, and then she could have her redemption arc reflected by a transition into this sort of folklore Evermore look. Haley is Becca's dutiful assistant, who it is revealed by the end was tricked into signing a contract that forced her to be Becca's friend. I like the idea of her dressing kinda like a youthful professor. Like she's trying to be secretarial and professional looking, but there's a fun side buried underneath. The main monsters in Lisi Harrisson's book are Frankie, Draculaura, Claudine, Laguna, and Cleo. I'm imagining that even though they're hiding, they still have a unique style that implies their monstrousness. I'm giving Draculaura the fake name of Laura da Silva, and the pastel goth style we know her to have. Claudine's fake name is just like the normie spelling of the name Claudine. Her style is going to feature all the bright colours and strong purple and clashing textures that we love to see from her. And like in the movie, she'll have glasses. Cleo's name gets to stay as it is. Her style is going to be more like evocative of stereotypical imagery than it will be representative of actual ancient Egyptian culture. But I would encourage the costume department, if I were in charge of the show, to use actual fabrics and patterns from Northern Africa, and like replicas of authentic pieces. Laguna becomes Lana. Her style would be like if Sporty Spice got a makeover by a TikTok fashion team, with a little Monster High edge. We also have this sort of like punk or like e-boy. Do people still say e-boy anymore? I'm really behind. Whatever, we have Deuce, and I'm adding Gulia, aka Leah Gray, to the main squad. I'd also love to add in Abby and Heath, and here's a list of a bunch of my favourite Monster High characters, honestly. But the last character that I'm actually going to talk about in great detail is Jackson, who does feature in the web series, sort of. Jackson Jekyll and DJ Hyde, here adapted as Holt, is the great-grandson of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In the series, he doesn't know his monstrous past at first. All he knows is that he can't get too hot. Eventually, we learn that heat is what triggers the transformation into Holt. Therefore, of course, the question becomes, whose side is he on? The humans or the monsters? Also, for an extra little bit of spicy drama, Jackson is attracted to Melody, but Holt's interests lie in Frankie. For my take, I like the idea with playing with presentation. Jackson is like a minimalist, but Holt wants to put flames on everything. I'm also adding subtle differences in their appearance so that like the transformation is an actual transformation as opposed to just, I don't know, personality. Holt's hair is redder and grows longer as the series progresses, and their eyes are more and more orange with time as they get more time to the forefront. Eventually they'll look like there's a fire in their eyes. And as Holt gets more and more time in the spotlight, I want them to have fanged teeth and clawed black fingernails. Basically, my goal is for Holt to represent a sort of gender fluidity, to show how like trans people are often demonized in the media, but actually Jackson comes to find peace with his other half, to the extent of them both allowing each other to take control at certain times, and sort of reading each other's minds, almost as if they're separate people in the same body. Another secret, even from Melody herself, is that she is a monster. She was adopted by the Carvers, and she's actually a siren. I am also going to touch on Brett, who's Becca's boyfriend and is also the boy that kisses Frankie at the party. I'm going to have him have a friendship with Deuce to really make the betrayal sting when he follows Becca to Team Human. Back to the show's structure, I'm thinking 4 seasons. 1 would establish everything and end on the cliffhanger of Frankie's floating head. 2 would be the aftermath of that, with the monsters going into hiding again. 3 would be the beginning of the fight for equality. And 4 would bring it to an end, with monsters' rights being enshrined in law. I'm inspired a lot by the gay rights movement, and more accurately, how the movie Pride represents lesbians and gays support the minors. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that, check it out, it's a cute movie. I'd also follow Lisi Harrisson's books, obviously, including developing the rivalry between Frankie and Cleo, which could lean towards the romance of the New Generation series. There's a lot of Monster High media that you can pull influence from. Fun story, I actually wanted to make a fan film of the books when I was in high school with a friend of mine, and girl, if you see this, hit me up. I imagine all the time what I could do with like even a Doctor Who level of budget. So I extra imagine what I can do with what Doctor Who's budget looks like these days. And that's it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments and tell me who your favourite monster is. Oh, and subscribe if you want more videos like this one. And you might as well leave a like while you're down there for good measure. Bye girlies!